Hi, book lovers. Hana Sodio shares short stories today. We trust you'll enjoy it.
The city was always alive at night, the neon lights of the clubs and bars reflecting off the wet pavement like a dirty mirror. But amidst the crowds and the noise, I felt alone. My name is Alessia, and I'm the daughter of the most powerful Mafia boss in the city. My life was one of luxury and privilege, but also of constant scrutiny and danger. I was at the club sipping on a drink and pretending to have fun when I saw him. He was standing across the room, his eyes fixed on me, with an intensity that made my skin prickle. He was tall and lean, with piercing blue eyes and jet-black hair that fell across his forehead in a messy swoop. He was dressed in a black leather jacket and jeans, and he looked like he didn't belong in this world of glamour and excess. As he approached, my bodyguards Marco and Leo stepped forward. "Alessia, we need to get out of here. It's not safe," Marco said, his voice low and serious, but I waved them off. "I'm fine, Marco. I can take care of myself," I replied, my eyes never leaving the stranger's face. "I don't trust this guy, Alessia," Marco said, his eyes narrowing. "He's got a bad reputation." But I was intrigued. "I don't know who you are, but I feel like I've seen you before," I said, smiling up at the stranger. "I've been watching you from afar, Alessia," he replied, his voice low and husky. "You're not like the other Mafia princesses." I felt a shiver run down my spine as he introduced himself as Ryder. We talked for hours, laughing and joking like we'd known each other for years. Ryder was charming and witty with a quick wit and a sharp tongue. He was also guarded, though, and I could tell that he was hiding secrets. As the night wore on, the club started to close, and Ryder suggested we take a walk outside. The cool night air was a welcome relief after the stifling heat of the club, and we strolled through the deserted streets, our footsteps echoing off the buildings. "I've never felt this way about anyone before," I said, my voice barely above a whisper. "It's like I can be myself around you." Ryder smiled, his eyes glinting with mischief. "I've never felt this way about anyone before either, Alessia," he replied. "You're the first person who's ever made me feel like I can be myself." As we walked, Ryder told me about his past, about growing up on the streets and fighting to survive. He was rough around the edges, but he had a heart of gold, and I found myself drawn to him in a way that I couldn't explain. But our time together was limited. My family would never approve of Ryder, and I knew that I had to be careful. "I'm scared, Ryder," I said, my voice trembling. "My family will do anything to keep us apart." Ryder's face darkened, his eyes flashing with anger. "I'll do whatever it takes to keep you safe, Alessia," he said. "I promise." As we stood there, the city lights twinkling around us, I knew that I was in trouble. Ryder was a mystery, a man with secrets and scars, and I was a Mafia princess, bound by duty and loyalty to my family. But I couldn't resist him. I was falling for the mysterious stranger, and I was willing to risk everything to be with him. The next day, my father summoned me to his office. "Alessia, you're going to marry the man I choose for you," he said, his voice cold and calculating. "That's the way it is." I felt a surge of anger and defiance. "I won't do it, father," I said, my voice firm. "I want to make my own choices, not be bound by some arranged marriage." My father's face turned red with rage. "You're a Mafia princess, Alessia," he spat. "You have a duty to the family. You'll do what's best for the family, not what's best for you." I knew that I had to be careful. My father would stop at nothing to keep me in line, but I was determined to follow my heart no matter the cost. As I left my father's office, I knew that I had to see Ryder again. I couldn't stay away from him no matter the danger. And as we met in secret, sneaking around the city to avoid my family's prying eyes, I knew that I was willing to risk everything for love. "Alessia, please," Marco said, his voice low and urgent. "Don't make us have to hurt him. Your father will not be happy about this." But I was resolute. "I don't care about my father's happiness, Marco," I said, my voice firm. "I care about mine, and being with Ryder makes me happy." Marco sighed. his eyes filled with concern. Alessia, you're playing with fire. Your father will do whatever it takes to keep you from seeing Ryder. He's not a man to be trifled with. I nodded, knowing that Marco was right, but I couldn't help the way I felt. I was drawn to Ryder, and I was willing to risk everything to be with him. As the days turned into weeks, Ryder and I continued to see each other in secret. We would meet in hidden alleys, in abandoned warehouses, and in secret gardens. Our love grew stronger with each passing day, and I knew that I couldn't imagine a life without him. But our love was forbidden, and we knew that we couldn't keep it a secret forever. My father would find out, and when he did, there would be consequences. One night, as we were walking through the city, Ryder turned to me and said, "Alessia, I have something to tell you. Something important." I looked up at him, my heart racing with anticipation. "What is it?" I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. Ryder took a deep breath, his eyes locked on mine. "I have a secret, Alessia, a secret that could change everything." I felt a surge of fear, but I knew that I had to hear him out. "What is it?" I asked again, my voice firm. Ryder hesitated, his eyes darting back and forth. "I'm not who you think I am, Alessia," he said finally. "I'm not just some guy from the streets. I'm a cop." I felt like I had been punched in the gut. A cop? Ryder was a cop? I couldn't believe it. "Why didn't you tell me?" I asked, my voice shaking with anger and hurt. Ryder took a step closer to me, his eyes filled with regret. "I was afraid of losing you, Alessia. I was afraid that if you knew the truth, you would leave me." I didn't know what to say. I was torn between my love for Ryder and my loyalty to my family. I knew that my father would never approve of a cop, especially not one who was investigating our family's business dealings. As I stood there, trying to process everything, Ryder took my hand. "I love you, Alessia," he said, his voice filled with emotion. "I love you, and I want to be with you. But I know that it won't be easy. I know that your family will never approve of me." I looked up at him, my heart filled with love and determination. "I don't care about my family's approval, Ryder," I said. "I care about yours, and I know that we can make this work, together." Ryder smiled, his eyes filled with hope. "Really?" he asked, his voice filled with excitement. I nodded, my heart racing with anticipation. "Really?" I said. "Let's do this, Ryder. Let's take a chance on each other and see where it takes us." As we stood there, holding hands and looking into each other's eyes, I knew that our love was strong enough to overcome anything. We would face challenges and obstacles, but we would face them together. And as we walked off into the night, hand in hand, I knew that our love would conquer all. "Alessia, you're making a big mistake," Marco said, his voice low and urgent, as he watched us walk away. "Your father will never forgive you for this." But I just smiled, my heart filled with joy and love. I knew that I was taking a risk, but I was willing to take it. I was willing to risk everything for Ryder and for our love. "I don't care, Marco," I said, my voice firm. "I'm happy, and that's all that matters." As we disappeared into the night, I knew that our love would be the stuff of legend. We would be the star-crossed lovers, the ones who defied the odds and made their love work, no matter what. And as I looked up at Ryder, I knew that I would never let him go. I would fight for our love with every fibre of my being. I would fight for us and for our future together. "I love you, Ryder," I said, my voice barely above a whisper. Ryder smiled, his eyes filled with love and adoration. "I love you too, Alessia," he said, "forever and always."